Crusaders. This is your boy Omega coming at you with yet another Comic Crusaders GeekFest FilmFest Special. And today, baby, we got a storyteller whose work is so deep it'll have you questioning fate, memory, and myth all at once. I mean, from the Ozarks to Nashville, he's directed 7 shorts, 3 award winners. That's right. Let me tell you again. 3 award winners, countless music videos, and he even went viral with what would Spider-Man do? Yeah, man, he didn't even ask what the big man would do. He said, what would Spider-Man do? And he got over 500,000 views online. Now, his chilling short, Windyville, is being spun into a supernatural series. But right now, we're going to be seeing that at the GeekFest FilmFest circuit. And it's going to be counting down your own days for real. So let me introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the big boss himself, the one, the only Mr. Dusty Del Barco, baby. How you doing?
Good, man. That's a heck of an intro.
Hey, you're a boss, bro. Hey, Big Danny in the building too. Feeling the energy, knowing what's popping, bro. Yeah, but listen, I saw that Spider-Man film. You had me in my feels. You captured emotion and all. I am a comic book geek. Windyville, we're about to see the trailer, so folks, we're gonna see it together for the first time. I purposely did that. I wanted to have a nice natural reaction to watching the video and ask those questions. But Dusty, before we get into all these questions and this whole journey of yours, one of my most important questions, of course, is let them know where you're originally from, and most importantly, what was the first thing in all of fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Oh, well, I mean, I think all that's easy. So originally I'm from a very small town in the Missouri Ozarks. I always reference it, that show Ozark. It's on Netflix, if anyone's seen it.
I mean, the name sounds cool. You think it was a badass town. Ozarks. Like, what is it? Is it like a Viking town or some shit?
It's just like, it's a very beautiful part of the country. You know, there's a lot of lakes and streams. Missouri's the cave state. And I was very thankful to have grown up where I did. You know, my name is Dusty Dale. I was named after a family farm because there was a dirt road that ran through the farm. And
what?
I know.
You were named after a farm? Oh, he said, what trivia for the future, folks? Keep that in mind. What was famous director Dusty Del Barker named after? And it's going to be a farm.
A farm.
Oh, shit, bro.
Great place to grow up. Lived there. I went to school in Missouri, and then I worked for a little bit, and I've been in Nashville 13 years now.
So, all right, I love this. Wait a minute. Most people, especially those that work in film, say, I'm going to Hollywood, I'm going to LA, you know, I'm going to hit it. You went down south as opposed to the west. So, what was that decision? What made you say Nashville is going to be the home for me to be creative?
You know, I've got a random journey. So when I was actually a recruiter for the university, I did that for 4 years. And I was kind of thinking I was going to go to law school. And one day I was like, nah, I think I want to do film or music or something in entertainment. And I quit my job and I moved.
You said, I want to have fun. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, I want to do something different. My grandmother lived out in LA for a very long time, and it had been one of my territories. And I had a lot of friends that went out there that are wildly successful in LA. And so I'd gone out there, and like, just didn't feel like the right place. I don't know how to describe that. I'd gone to Nashville to visit, and I came here. I was like, this just feels like the next step, and whatever that is. And so I moved here, and I didn't know anyone. I just kind of started trying to meet people. I thought I wanted to maybe do music, so I got a job at a record label as an intern, an unpaid intern when I was 26. I was like, let me figure out what this is. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't think I want to do this. I had a buddy that owned a venue restaurant. I was like, I think I can do that. So I was the general manager of that venue for like a year. And in the meantime, I'd been trained as a photographer when I was a lot younger. I formally learned darker photography throughout high school and just never did anything with it. But when I got here, I started picking up jobs in the background with different musicians, trying to do some photo, video, and then had a buddy whose career kind of skyrocketed. And those of us that were scattered around him were just able to really get hired. So I'm very much one of those people who's like, rising tide raises all ships. Like I've experienced that. And then
excellent.
Somebody at some point was like, hey, can you direct a music video? And I was like, sure. I think I can do that. And I was woefully underprepared and learned a lot. And then I started touring with a bunch of musicians for 5-6 years, started directing music videos. I was managing artists. And then the pandemic happened, 2020, and everything kind of stopped. And I was like,
COVID, the C word, Jesus.
COVID, the C word. Boy, and everything, in entertainment, especially music, just full stop. And that gave me like a pause and a chance to take a step back. And I was like, I moved here to do my own thing, not all of this. And so I knew production for music videos. I just needed to learn narrative filmmaking. So I took that downtime to like ingest every bit of information I could from reading and watching other people. And I did this thing called the 48-hour film festival, where
I've heard about this. You're supposed to make like a movie like in 48 hours.
48 hours. It is a crazy experience. Yeah, I think it's something good that like everyone should do.
So you think that's a good test whether you have the grit to do this shit? I
think so. Yeah, because I think I've worked in entertainment for 13 years now, and the thing that I've learned was like it's like the high highs and the low lows, and it will chew you up and spit you out. And it's always just like, are you willing to get back up and still keep going? Even like the big successful people still have hits, like where they don't get something or something doesn't go well, and
they slump. Of course, people slump. Listen, you could be high one moment, down the other, but I like this idea though of a 48-hour film. I think that could kick you right on the ass to get your creative gears going.
It does, yeah. I mean, the harder because the max length is 7 minutes, and you draw a genre. Yeah, you draw a genre out of a hat, and on Friday at 7 p.m. and you turn that in at Sunday at 7 p.m. The nice man, like, and you are done with the film. Like that's one of the crazy benefits is that Monday morning you have just made a short film that is completed. The hardest thing about it is writing a story that is good, that is only 6 minutes long. That is so difficult to write a good story.
Yeah, you want to capture people, hook them within such a limited time frame.
Yeah.
And this is not a cartoon, so you're talking about you got to really try to build a story. You can't just do quick shit and gags. You really got to build something.
Yeah, man. It what a good experience though. A DP that I work a lot with, he had done it before, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And it was really like a last minute decision because at that point it was 2021, and like there was some bits of work popping back up. So all the crew people we knew like had jobs popping up, or like go make the money where you can, because there was nothing at that point. And our crew came down to him and myself, and then two of his drinking buddies at the time. One was a professional race car driver that just happened to be off that weekend. The other one was a male stripper that just happened to be off that weekend. It was very random. And then we
had a Magic Mike weekend or some shit was going on here.
Yeah, we had a and then like a kid from the Belmont University here in town, and we won that. It was like our first
crazy.
It was the first thing I'd written and directed that was a narrative, and we won it. And I was like, okay, this feels like there's something here. And then I started like doing improv. I started acting. I joined an acting studio, and then I did the 48 again in 22, and we won it again. And then I was like, okay, I want to make all these other things that I've had in the back pocket for a long time. And the first one of those was honestly Windyville. I was like, I need to figure out what this is as a short film. I knew what the series was. So I started writing that over the next year, and then we filmed that in September of 23, almost 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
This has been in existence and living out there, developing his life. Okay. But before we even get into that, I want to tell people they need to be familiar here. You're not no slouch. You're not no rookie. You've directed 7 short films. So what is it that keeps you returning to short form before expanding to series, feature length type of things?
I don't think I was ready, truthfully. I felt like there was so much that I needed to learn, especially people that I know. I mean, our film community in Nashville is growing, but it's tight knit, and it's.
I think the South is growing, period. Because I was in Georgia, and I got great energy from Georgia. Like, so much potential. And I think the South is the new West.
It is. I think it's so nice to be surrounded by people that are eager and hungry and want to
Yes.
make the thing, you know.
The energy is real.
The energy is
that
real.
creative entrepreneurial energy, that creative energy. I don't know, again, folks, if you're not creators, I don't know if you understand what we mean, where you go into a place and here's your arms stand up and you're asking why.
Yeah.
Sometimes for that moment, you're like, holy shit, there's something in here.
Man, you were spot on. I think it all comes down to like the not overthinking energy of like independent film. It's like we know where this is supposed to go. Let's just go do it and put a deadline on ourselves that like this has got to be done.
No corporate energy, no corporate bullshit. We are here. We're making it. We're getting it done, and we're putting that baby out there. And there are no gatekeepers, and that's why I love indie, my brother, baby, yo, right? Yes, Barkerverse. I need to know so much more about this. So, all right. So let's talk about this, right? 3 of your shorts are in fact award winners. So talk about that moment of recognition that made you go like, oh shit, this is real. I'm doing something, man.
I think, that first 48 was a big thing. It was like validation in so many ways because I knew I'd been putting in the effort to like learn. And honestly, like the short films, I think they're so good. And I encourage people like, a short film is a good place to learn something. So you go into it with like, I want to get this out of it. I have, I think there's 4 of them available. 2 are still in post. So I haven't put those out yet. And then I've got 1 that's going to be done on Saturday. So I've got 3
more. Man got the schedule, man. 2025, watch out, baby.
We'll keep going, and they're all kind of all over the place. So like, I've been experimenting with different genres, and then I think the award stuff or even the nominations, I mean, are great. And it's not. I think I learned a good lesson going through that too. Is like you shouldn't really be striving to win awards, right? Like it's a nice accolade, and when you get it, it's validation and confirmation in a lot of ways of like, okay, I do think I know what I'm doing, but also like you're dealing with the circumstances and the judges and what other films were at that moment in time. So even like not winning doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. It's this journey that everyone's on and like a story, and everyone's got their own. And I think like along the way, for me, the first couple wins were like, okay, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. And also I genuinely enjoyed it. I can think back to, like years ago, a decade ago, when I was on my first like big music video sets that I was directing. I would stand there and I had this overwhelming feeling. I was like, yeah, this feels right. Like this in a way that
I'm here, baby. I'm here.
It's just like what I'm supposed to be doing in a way.
Yeah.
And it all made sense. So yeah, I think shorts are great. I think I'm like at the end of me making short films because there's no short form stories that I have left to tell. And actually coming off that Spider-Man one, when we got that done, because our crew on that was like 50 to 60 people, all just making it happen.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. You're not playing. You had an army.
Dude, it was amazing. It was amazing to see that many people come together that want to do that. And when we got done with that, and we put, again, like hard deadlines. It was like, we have to shoot this on these days. And then we gave ourselves, I think we did like a local premiere with friends and family and cast and crew. That was November of last year. So I gave ourselves like 3.5-ish months, 4 months to finish that film, which was a wild undertaking. And we got it done. And when I came out of that, I was like, oh, I can do a feature. So that's the mode that I've been in now, is getting that done and also wrapping up these other projects.
Excellent. So let's talk about that Windyville inspiration. I'm about to show the trailer in a moment, folks. But before we get into that, right? A whole town knows the exact date of their death. Listen, bro, you fucking me up here because I would be terrified knowing this, to be honest. So when the hell did you come up with the idea for this?
Man, I've been working on this for about a decade. So there is a little bitty sort of ghost town where, like near my hometown, about 30 minutes away, called Windyville. And it was one of those places growing up, you always just think of it as we just literally thought there was ghosts there. So it was like all the ghost stories stem out of that thing. And I always thought, man, it's kind of spooky. And then I had this idea in my head. I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if there was just like a whole town of people that lived there, but because it is off the beaten path. Like the only way to get there is to specifically drive to that place. So
Nah, bro, I'm good.
yeah.
I'm good, bro.
And so I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if like there was more to that? And then me growing up, like I love Greek myth and I always have, and I love everything that goes around it. I mean, I'm the kid that took Latin in high school.
No, bro, I wish I had Latin. I had the greatest mythology teacher of all time, I believe. My teacher, man, God, I forgot his name. My man, I gotta ask my boys. They remember. I'm I'm just on smoking
that
right now.
stuff sticks with you, like.
But my man, he would act out Norse mythology, Greek mythology,
Oh, wow.
act it out in class,
Um,
and like I'm a comic book fan, and so were a couple of other guys. So there was a very select few of us that were like mesmerized by what he was telling us and falling in love what was Thor, what I mean, Hercules, the new gods, and learning all about that shit, Namor. Like, I mean, it's because of teachers like that made me fall in love with that side. Because before that, I thought it was cheesy when I saw them first in the comic books. Well, this teacher showed me such a different side, you know?
yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think that's something to be said. Like, whenever you're younger, having those inspirations like that is
Yeah,
what
man.
can breed like these later things. I mean, you've got like a wildly successful channel that stems from really starting with the learning of Greek mythology, and I think especially when you start to relate that to comic books or anything else, like with Windyville, I was fascinated by the fact that these stories that have been told for thousands of years are still being retold. There's a whole thing of like there's no new stories, but our interpretations of them are the new thing. And so
adding a cell phone, adding a beeper, right? Adding a flying car. That's it. That's the reinterpretation. That's it. Same story.
and for me, it's like, well, I grew up in the Ozarks. For anyone else, I mean, you're in Massachusetts, so it's you pull.
But
from
I grew up in Brooklyn. At least that sounds a little tougher than Massachusetts.
That's the let's see, what's Spider-Man was Queens though, right?
Yeah, he was in Queens. Though. He was in Queens. All right, though. He was our neighbor. I mean, did we have a Brooklyn hero? Really? The thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Speaking of, you see that new movie yet?
Oh.
That's a whole different conversation.
That's all you want to say, folks. Again, that is a comic book movie, and appreciate it for what that it is. It's a wonderful comic book movie, and anyone that complains about it otherwise just doesn't understand what it is. That's it.
I agree. I'm like, I just had so much fun watching that movie.
Yeah, man. I was geeking the F out as a comic book fan, seeing story elements from books being teased. I'm like, oh my god! And then like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, you have no idea. You never read or even had a listen. I always respected Fantastic Four as a kid. I had large exposure to Fantastic Four because that was my mom's favorite superhero team. If you believe it.
Like I mean, honestly, as a kid, I loved the Fantastic Four, and like seeing this, I think I was smiling the entire time that
Me
film
too.
was. Yeah,
it gave me goosebumps. Just like the Superman, I felt that it was a comic book movie, but also animated because it had so many elements of the Bruce Timbers in there that people didn't understand. Oh, why those characters were there? Have you ever watched Justice League cartoons?
Exactly. It was so much fun to sit there and watch that Superman film, and I was like, it's not deep. It's its own world. I don't need it to be like, oh, he would never do this in real life. I'm like, no, like this is just fun, and this is what it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to be entertained,
It's a comic book, not real life. So please stop wanting us to put so much real life into the book and let us have fun and imagine again. Let imaginations live again. Wait, let imagination, Leela. We're gonna start a new organization, Leela. Let imaginations live again.
I love that. Leela. Yeah, not agree
That's
more.
mine, folks. This is ours. It is Dusty's and ours. Hashtag right now, Leela. We own this copyright. Let imaginations live again. This is ours. All right.
Let's see, where'd all that start? Oh, Windyville. Oh, so I was like, man, I would love the idea if I could create something in this town where these Greek myths just existed here. again and again and again. And the people that lived in these towns are sort of like the real life reincarnations of what was happening,
Love
but
it.
never explicitly saying, but like that's the stories were just being retold, very focused in this town. And I developed out like a 9 episode, it's sort of a pseudo anthology.
Oh,
And I've got
excellent.
the series Bible ready, and I've been in the middle of pitching that. Like I know the next 4 seasons. I know the world and mythology. I've spent a lot of
Oh
time
man, my man planned. Oh, bro,
trying.
manifest. You know, folks. Wait a minute. Before you even talk more about this, 'cause we keep talking, but people want to see. So let's give them that whole mighty tease, baby. Check out the trailer for Windyville, baby. You know, through there you can watch through GeekFest FilmFest, right? Check it.
What would you do if you knew the exact date and time that you were going to die?
Beautiful shot. That first shot, beautiful.
You know, it's in human nature to seek answers. Sometimes people ask questions that lead them on adventures.
Oh, I love the cinematography and angles. Baby.
Sometimes they find love. Sometimes they open a door to the past. And sometimes people get answers to questions that they never asked in the first place.
Oh man, stuff scaring me, bro.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Storm gonna come.
Man, oh man, folks, did you see that? Hey, talk to me, baby. Holy smokes. First of all, the everything looks great. The shots, the movement, your actors look wonderful. The coloring on the film, everything. I mean, the series. I mean, I said film because it looks like a movie. Jeez.
No,
Um, uh, great job, bro.
thank
So,
you.
to talk to us about this crew, how you developing the story within this series. Like, yo, talk about it, man. 'Cause this
Uh,
is fantastic. You already got me intrigued. That opening shot already got me. I was like, yo,
yeah,
I'm a big Sky fan. You already got me intrigued. Like, what the fuck?
oh man, I loved that location. But my DP I've worked a long time with, his name is Mike White, and he's incredible. And Mike has this way of making something look like $1 million, no matter what he does.
Agreed.
And
It was great.
he's known about this concept for a long time, and he was like, anytime you want to do this, like, let me know, I'm down. And honestly, it was a crew of people that were all just like down to make something. I knew what it was. I knew that I needed to take my concept that I'd made in Windyville and like distill that down. So I took 5 of the characters from the series and I rewrote it into a short film. And it was an interesting process going through that because I think I rewrote that script like 12 times. I kept trying to find like the
12 times.
yeah, exactly. Every time I think it got better.
Jesus.
But there are times now where I'm like, maybe I overthought certain parts of it because like
Maybe.
every line of dialogue was like very specifically in there. And at the end result, I was like, it kind of had to, it became what it was, and I had to let it be what it was going to be. And I love where it got to, but Mike definitely was huge in bringing that together. My composer I work with a lot on every project. Her name is Lauren Conklin. Lauren created the score for this and Spider-Man and pretty much everything I've done, I think, since 2022. She's incredible. And I think the rest of the crew on this were people I'd met either from like previous productions that I had, or a lot from like our acting community that we've got here, people that were all just like down to make something. I think one of the things, Mike and I shot a lot of music videos, and the nature of music videos, you shoot them in one day. So you get really good at distilling concepts down into something that, can you shoot this? Like, what kind of locations do you have access to? And then what time do you have access to them? And then I'm very cognizant of not not overstaying my welcome with people's good graces. So like we're going to be on set and we'll make sure everyone gets fed, and I'm not going to keep you longer than what we need to. So I'm going to make sure my shots accomplish that, and like being very cognizant of time. My producer Jim, I mean, brought so much to that, and like making sure everything was ready ahead of time. And then on set we had our AD Brian, and Brian's an incredible filmmaker in his own right. And Brian was former military, like very good at keeping us on time. So it was
he kept that straight.
yeah, like when I was a kid, it was like the team up movies where you like go find the people. It was like we need this person, this girl, this person, and I love that.
So I love formed your 18 back in your way.
And everyone has their own like hidden talents and skills and abilities, and I love finding those in
you
people.
Sound like Hannibal. Yeah, man, I love it. Let's go.
But I love the way that it turned out, and man, we shot all of that in 3 days.
Wow.
And it was 2 locations. It was all here in Tennessee, all Tennessee crew. And I'd been sitting on it for a little bit, and then the Spider-Man thing, it came around the next May is when I first got wind of that, and we shot that in July of last year. And when I got that done, I was the executive producer. He's like, I think we should premiere this like November. I was like, okay, this would be a good time to also throw Windyville in there. So I really put both of them into major post-production.
Nice. That's how you do it. Now, before we go on to Spider, of course, the Windyville explores fate versus free will, right? So do you lean more towards destiny is written, or we can flip the script?
Oh man, that is the ultimate question of what I'm trying to get at, right? The series itself, the main protagonist is driven to the town. She has this sort of complex where she likes to solve problems, and her grandfather left her this journal with all these stories, these tales from Windyville. And what she learns is that the town is all going to die very soon. So the town's been around for a couple hundred years, has its own rules, and their death date is all coinciding in the same day here in a couple of months, but also hers is a little bit before that. So I think the big questions I love getting at are if you knew the exact date and time you were going to die, what would you do with that? The show itself, it deals with the episodes like fate versus free will. Like, was this predetermined? Is this destination? Like, can you change it? And that's what the main character of the show is trying to get out of. Like, can she change this? And is it possible to sort of cheat death or change your fate or destiny?
Yeah, but if that was me, I'll be honest. I think that I would wait until the very last minutes of my life to do something, because then I guess, all right, listen, if this is already predetermined, I guess this would be the moment. Why?
Yeah. Each of the characters in the short film are based on a different Greek myth. And so that was the inspiration I gave each of the actors going into it. Okay. You guys, like, this is who your character is. Like, research that. And John, the main, one of the characters you see in the beginning of it, he's cheated death. So he's known, and he's one of the characters, like, he knew he couldn't die. So he just pushed it as far as he possibly could to see what he could get away with, knowing that he wasn't going to die. And I found that interesting. But I like to explore all of those themes of like when people know more than what they should, what they do with that information.
All right, but there we go. That's Windyville. You hear this? That already sounds intense and insane, and you could see it at your local convention. Because again, GeekFestLA.com is a convention that travels. I mean, a film festival that travels to Comic-Con. So check out where you're going to be in your town by going to GeekFestLA.com. Stay tuned. And we're gonna learn where possibly he may show up, but not yet, because we got to learn about another one. Because you say he's dropping 2, because my man ain't playing. He says, I'm gonna win one way or another. Either I'm gonna scare the shit out of you, or I'm gonna give you some superheroics on a different level. And man, oh man, you dived into Spider-Man, and when you dropped this baby, it like went into ultimate viral success. Like over 500,000 like ASAP. Did you expect it to even blow up like that when you created this?
No, is the easy answer. I think the underlying hope is always there because I knew that we had something very special. And the only reason it stopped, honestly, it's hidden right now because we got entered into a couple of festivals and they wanted to keep it private until they got.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so it throttled because it's not live on YouTube. So it's like the
Folks,
Comic-Con is going to be like a special screening of it for a little bit.
See, folks, right there. If you want to watch this film, you go there. And guess what? Before we even dive in to this whole craziness that he did here and why this type of story with Spidey, check this out. This is the trailer to his Spider-Man drawing.
How's my spider boy doing?
Spider-Man.
What's up, Goober? Sometimes I just take it all in and I'm like, what the hell is even happening anymore?
Because of what? Because of Spider-Man?
Pete.
The doctor, please! Someone help me!
Do you ever think that New York would be better off without Spider-Man?
Man, oh man, yeah, another banger. You are not playing, Dusty. What in the world are you doing? Are you trying to like own the nerdverse in films right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
I guess so. I didn't set out with that, but all of a sudden I'm like, man, I am a massive nerd, so I guess it's kind of just the way.
Yeah, that looks phenomenal. Again, I was watching like, wow. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. Again, I had to do this interview, so I had to stop watching.
Man, that.
Thank you for interrupting, Dusty. No, I'm only saying, like, bro. I'm feeling the story like no other. Like I'm really digging the narrative you're taking here, that pain of it. And again, sometimes things happen, and especially with Spidey, like we always see him fucking around, always see him getting emotional on things. But wow, they don't talk about those stories. And so why did you choose this type of story for Spidey?
And I think so. I mean, first of all, I have to give major props to the kid that wrote it. His name's Zachary Goss, and he stars as Spider-Man, Peter Parker. And I think
he wrote it and starred.
Yeah, he wrote it. And I know he did such an amazing job, and an amazing job acting in this. And my acting teacher had reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey, one of my students wrote this film, and they want to make it." And I was like, "Okay, let's talk." And we started to get into it. And I was like, "Oh, this is super interesting." I had heard this story years ago about how Kevin Feige had hired the Russo brothers for Captain America because he had seen an episode of Community that they had directed. That was the paintball episode. Yeah. And they got that job because they had made a short film that was action based. And I was like, I wonder what that means. And then I was like, you can be like a great director, but not be a great action director. You got to learn what that means to be an action director. And so I started working on an action short film, which we still haven't released here a few years ago. We have a great, amazing stunt team in Nashville, led by a guy named Jaron Bray. And Jaron had, we put this thing together a couple of years ago, started learning what it was to film action and what that meant to make it look good and understand the camera angles that had to go into it and the fluidity of it. And also like how much production time, because that changes completely whenever you go into a production of making sure people are comfortable, everyone is extremely safe on set, and you're going about it the right way. And only doing that did I know I was able to do Spider-Man, because with Spider-Man, I took that on as a challenge of I'd never done anything in the comic book realm. I thought it'd be super entertaining to do that, but also like to do it justice, because I think some of the harshest critics in all of film are the people watching anything related to comic books, right? I was like, well, I have to do this right. And Zach had written this script that was incredible. And what I thought was so good, it was like everyone wants to be Spider-Man, but no one ever really says, I want to be Peter Parker. And I think that's so important, right? And Zach nailed that, right? Like he brought out of like Peter dealing with the struggles of being Spider-Man, because he's not just Spider-Man. He's also,
which is why I think people kind of don't understand Superman in that moment when Clark had that, interview with Lois, where he showed he was Clark. He was, the kid that grew up where he grew up, not an alien or no one, just a kid that grew up knowing right from wrong.
Exactly. He was trying to do the right thing and not make, he didn't want the world to fall because of him doing the right thing. Like that was still the most important. And James Gunn did such an incredible job in showing that throughout the film. And I think that may have gotten lost on people that were really upset. And I really enjoyed that film. But I think the superhero genre, man, it was so much fun. That entire film we made, and I think about it. I was like, man, if I were to do that today, like it scares me the thought of that production. We shot that entire thing in 3 days, 3 12-hour days.
3 days.
3 12-hour days.
So the graphics, the suit, the acting, and again, the cameras, everything looks so like crazy. So like wonderful job. Legit doesn't look like. I love today's production value, the things that we have access to, especially in the creators. It's like the tools. You guys are right up there competing with top notch. And it looks wonderful. I'm like, yo, I'm looking at this like, damn, like I can see this on Netflix, bro. Come on, bro, Dusty. When we get you on Netflix, bro.
I think I love, we've got access to tools now that we didn't have access to even 5 years ago. I think if you go back 10 years ago, we had rented a Red camera. I think at that point it was a Red Epic. And it was for a music video. And, I think the Reds at that point were still like 60, 70 grand. And we thought, man,
even today.
Yeah. You can get a Komodo for $3,000, I think is what they dropped the price to. And that barrier of entry is so much lower. But even then it was like an FX3 or an FX30, or even if you're like just starting out and want to make stuff, like, the iPhone cameras are incredible, but there are entry-level cameras in glass to make stuff that make it so easy. And then it just comes down to like how much time and how hard are you willing to work to like make the thing come together. And it always goes down to, it was like at the end of the day, I can't, but like we edit, we re-edit, and we keep going back to it. And at the end of the day, like you have to set a time and be like, okay, we have to be done by this time. Like there's a deadline here. And when it goes, I remember watching a couple of things. It was like, well, that could be better. Then I have to make it better. Like if I noticed something in the edit, it was like, I have to go back. Like we have to change this because this will be better if we do X, Y, Z. And it was always just the unwillingness to settle for less. In the production, it was we only had so much time, and everyone was like so on board to make this thing. It was like, well, let's not waste the time that we've got of everyone. So even in the shots, it was constantly a mix of, we've got to get these shots, and then my scripty in the background, it was like, okay, I can consolidate, I can condense these because I know that we can get all of this in one track and then make this work in post in the edit. And then it's shooting for the edit to make sure that we've got the performance and the shots that we're going to need, that are going to have to cut together. And then just having that constant double check. And I think that was so important to move the thing along, to know that it is possible to not get all of the perfect shots that you want and still get the shots that make the thing work and work really well. And at the end of the weekend, at the end of the 3 days, I told everyone, I was like, the most important thing here is that we have a film. Not that we have the most perfect thing that could possibly be made, is that we have a film that will work. And then in post, we can go through and make the edits, and we can pull in the CG that we need. And then my stance on CG is, I want stuff that a guy named Nero did this, and he is incredible. And also going into, like, Zach, I had known him, a guy named Kai, who has PSM Spidey on YouTube. He made the suit for Zach, and he had connected us to Nero, and when Nero first sent back like the swinging scene at the end, which I don't think you've seen, I was like, my mouth dropped open. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Because my whole thing with CG is like I never want to rely on it. I want to use it to amplify the things that we can't do.
Only when necessary. Yes.
Exactly. And we build it into something practical, so it helps. So throughout it, it was when we had Spider-Man, you know, in downtown Nashville, I had a crane that we had, you know, reserved alleyways, and that's how
that's how you did that swing
Yeah.
there. Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, yo, the fight choreography, the movement. And when I saw him do that, I said, yo, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely not CGI though. This looks practical, but good work on hiding the lines and all that shit,
Such a good job.
Bro.
And then on set, like my first AD was also a VFX pro. So we had the ability to have him and be like, does this shot work for our plate, or can we use this in post, to make sure that we were trying to streamline that as much as possible. And but yeah, no, like everything in the fight scene is 100% practical. And the only thing that CG were the webs and like the gunshot and the blood. Well, the blood on the shirt was like some sort of like goop that they.
Well, I'm hoping the blood was.
Yeah, blood wasn't real. But it was some sort of like goop, and then like everything, because like the guns were dummy, they didn't work. They were just like rubber things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then but I was like, it's so easy to put gunfire from CG in post. There's no reason to ever have like a gun actually fire even blinks.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we've had too many accidents and lost people through those silly accidents.
Yeah, and it's so
I think there's silly accidents because why is there even ammo in anything on fucking set, bro?
Shouldn't be anywhere close to it. No, and there's no real reason to. Yeah, especially anymore with CG as good as what it is.
And cap guns, they used to have blank guns that if you pop them off, they look like a real gun popping. You know, but it was a blank. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't put it next to nobody's head. You're not hurting nobody.
Yeah. And there's no, honestly, and I think even at this point, it was like there may be somewhere where that is more convincing, but also I don't know how often that's actually going to need to be the case, right? Because CG gunfire is, I think,
elevated and improved on the scale.
But the other CG, it's like it's so well hidden that most people, even that were on set, didn't realize the CG being used. There's like,
and now with the onset of CG with AI, that's gonna help it clean it up even more.
I agree.
Again, it's it's a scary time for real creators, but I think people with a real eye will differentiate, know what's what, and I think celebrate what real human creation is.
It's another tool. And I think
it's a tool. That's all it is. I think it helps storyboard, sure, but don't use it as a final product.
You can't use it as a final product. It is still a tool that it's just another thing in the toolbox of, can this amplify? Can this help what we're doing? And also, like, I need to understand this to understand, to be ahead of the curve as much as I possibly can.
150%.
We didn't use it.
Knowledge is power. That's what they mean, folks.
Absolutely. But yeah, we didn't use it in any of this film, and that's another thing. It was like we have action VFX here in town. We have some really amazing like CG people here.
Are you trying to make me go to Nashville?
Hey,
what's going on here, bro?
100% saying try and sell. I'm saying everything you need is here. We because there's a scene, I don't know if you got to it yet, but there's a scene where Spider-Man jumping out of his window at the end. And that was we got the plate shot, so we got a real shot of him like crawling out. But then I knew that we needed that to look like Queens. So the CG is the brick buildings on the other side of outside the window. Into, and that was Sam, like our first AD. It was able to cut that in. My DP is actually really talented also. It's CG, so there's a few things he was able to do, and like cleaning up some of the wires and putting in the web shooting and whatnot. I just, that was truly, it was a team effort, and the only way that could have come together was everyone like fully investing and being on board for it. And again, like throughout the production, I think it was somewhere between 50 and 60 people ended up helping out and making that thing actually come together.
But
and
I'm very curious, Dusty, about something. Very curious. He said, I'm trying to make it look like Queens. You're telling me you're a Nashville, guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Queens?
I have been to Queens. Yeah.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah. It's a fun. Yeah, I've been very, very well traveled.
I bet.
When between my university days and then touring with musicians for 5 years, my first question I always ask people is, "Where are you from?" Because I have most likely been to there. The only state I haven't been to is Alaska, and I've been all over New York just for fun. Yeah.
But there we go. All right, so good. So he knows the vibe, understands the food, the music. I get it. Awesome. Dig it. So with this, I mean, like, is this going to be amongst more of superhero type films coming from you? Shorts, possibly having fun.
There's a couple of things. It's funny, the timing of this. Zach didn't know that I was doing this podcast today. And literally 12:22, so that was what, 2 hours ago, he texted me. He's like, "By the way, I wrote a sequel." And that was he had no idea I was on this podcast. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, spoiler! Oh my God! Red alert, folks. Here you go. Gossip.
Yeah. So that's the first time that's been told. Again, that was an undertaking.
Hey.
He's in his first year at SCAD for acting. So he's starting that this fall. He's flying from SCAD out to Comic-Con.
All right.
It's been so fun. The kid that plays the boy in it, he's flying out as well. Aunt May is going to be there. So we're having, like, people are flying in for it, which is great. And then one other thing. So Jaron his stunt team is always down for, like, any kind of superhero or whatever. A buddy of mine named DeAndre, who's got a slight cameo in here, is also a director, but he and Jaron and I wanted to do like a Midnight Suns with Blade, and I've been wanting to play Ghost Rider for quite some time. So
which Ghost Rider you want to be? Which one?
You
want to be Johnny? You want to be Danny?
I want to be Johnny. I've just always been fascinated by the Johnny, if I'm being told.
Yeah, you look more Johnny-ish. You got more Johnny-ish look.
Yeah, it fits me a lot better. I love the motorcycle. I really enjoyed when the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they brought in that old Charger car to bring as like.
When they brought he's like third iteration, right? Fourth iteration of Ghost Rider. Yeah, but I love that one too, man. And it was with a Charger. But still, I think the essence of Ghost Rider is that biker with the fiery fucking wheels hitting the road. You know what I mean? Yeah. That fucking
even like
baby. Come on.
That first Ghost Rider film when they brought in, I'm blanking on his name, the cowboy from like the 1800s. It was played by Sam Elliott. What was the name of that Ghost Rider? It was the original one because he was on horse.
The original Ghost Rider, yeah. The OG Ghost Rider, yeah.
And when he became like the fiery horse, I love that imagery of like a Ghost Rider on the horse in the 1800s.
Yeah, when I remember that when I first saw that as a kid, my first Ghost Rider was seeing as a horse, but then I always remember people telling me, "Yeah, he's a guy on a motorcycle." I'm like, "But there's a guy on a horse." And then one day I finally got to see, Flamehead and shit. I said, "Oh, wow."
Yeah.
Fell in love, Now, obviously, look at me now because I'm an old man Ghost Rider.
Oh man,
I'll be riding an Indian, not a Harley.
I've always loved Ghost Rider. I love the like Midnight Suns version. Honestly, when Marvel came out with Moon Knight, I was so happy. I love that series. I love that character of Moon Knight so much, and Oscar Isaac nailed that.
Jesus, there we go. The potentials is Midnight Suns, Moon Knight, so many things, bro. Let's talk to me. 10 years from now, let's forecast, let's manifest. What do you want people to say about your body of work?
I love complex characters. Again, that goes back to like I love characters that know more, like the burden of knowing. The characters that know more than they're supposed to, and and how that carries so much weight on that character in particular. So going back through, like, I want Windyville to be a series. Like, I believe in that, and I know it will work. I've got a Nashville Film Festival that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. They have a pitch competition. I entered. The thing is, like, I've been sitting here and I've been like figuring this out. So I've got, I don't know, 9 films that I know I want to make. I know what they are. I entered them into this pitch competition. They wanted 3 of my pitches.
Yeah, my man. He ain't play. He's absolutely all.
Yeah, I'm giving this pitch on stage at the Nashville Film Festival. Actually, it's a Christmas movie. It's a cross between, Spy Kids and National Treasure, if you mix Christmas with all of that.
Okay. Oh, all right. Intriguing. All right.
Yeah, it's a very different thing. And like my things are all over the place. I've got like some coming of age films that I really love to make because they're.
Have you heard my music? I would go from like house music to hip hop to R&B to reggaeton, and you're like, what the hell? I grew up in New York. Excuse my diversity in music.
It's like that. I'm like, honestly, my general go-to. I always have music playing at home just because I hate the silence. So I have like some mixture of blues and jazz. Like today it was John Coltrane radio. It's just what I've had playing. Nice. And I love mixing that, and I love the evolution of music. Music has always been a part of like my journey and always will be. So even as I write, like I find a song that tonally fits what it is I'm trying to do, and then I go to town with the writing what I need to. And I think like the very genres of music and going throughout that is like also what's been able to inspire, like, I want this kind of movie. I feel like this would be a rom-com, or I've got this coming of age, or like I've got this Christmas idea, and I just kind of start throwing things out there. I'm like, well, I have to accomplish this. I have to go do it. So for me, the next step is, I need to, I'm getting ready for this pitch presentation to pitch this and ready to go with that. Windyville's in a state where it's like ready to go with Spider-Man. We'll see where that goes. I feel like I've been sort of like priming everything. I equate it to video games. I'm also a video game nerd, right? So how in a game you can go through the main story and you've got all the random side quests you can do. I feel like I've been doing all the random side quests all along this way, and like now I'm ready for the main story, like leveled up. So 10 years from now, it's I want people to look at Windyville and be like, oh, I understand. I know what that was. I want them to look at this Christmas trilogy that I've got ready to go and be like, oh, they understand what that was. Like, I want people to know that one of the directors I have so much respect for is Ron Howard. Ron Howard has this innate ability to make something good. No matter what, they'll bring him in and they know it will get done, and they know it's going to be a good film. And it doesn't need to win awards, but think of every Ron Howard film you've ever seen in your entire life, and you're like, that's a good movie. You think back on it, you're like, yeah, that was.
Yeah, he hasn't disappointed.
Yeah, he's got a good film. So I think that's what I want. I want people to go into my films knowing that my favorite film of all time is Jurassic Park, because I remember the way it made me feel when I was a kid and I saw it in theaters. And I want people to know, like, oh, Dusty directed that. It's going to be a movie we're just going to enjoy watching and have fun with. And that's my entire goal.
Excellent. There we go. You see, folks, this is how you're going to enter into the this Barkerverse, the Dusty Dale Barkerverse. DD Barkerverse. There we go.
Barker.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make it happen. And this is how easy you do. You got to first follow him on social. Right there, a Dust Bar. Check them out everywhere. Stay tuned to what's going on. You know where else? Where you can stay tuned to what's popping. It is VAYLL.com. Vail.com. Check it out. Show love there. Show support for independent creators. Any last words before we go, other than them checking you out at the mighty GeekFest FilmFest, where you could check out the lineup at geekfestla.com, and find out where you can watch this dope film, and vote, well, again, he has 2 now, so which one are you going to vote for? Oh my gosh, decisions, folks.
Gonna have to pick, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you for your time, man. Really looking forward to Comic-Con. Everyone's been very excited about all that.
Well, we're gonna make it happen, and with that, you know what I mean. It's a wrap for media. A big shout out to my man Dusty, again for blessing the Comic Crusaders GeekFest FilmFest Special with his journey, his vision, and those mind-bending stories that are definitely gonna get us thinking about legacy, fate, and how much knowledge we can really handle, baby. So from the eerie vibes of Windyville to the heart punch of what would Spider-Man do. I mean, Dusty's out here showing us what indie cinema is all about, which is passion, creativity, storytelling with soul. You heard? So make sure y'all check out his work. Keep supporting GeekFest, and of course, smash that like, that share, and that subscribe button so you never miss a beat, baby, or the heat from the Comic Crusaders crew right here. So until next time, mi gente, you keep dreaming big, you keep creating, you keep crusading, and as always, baby, we out.